Okay, so first of all, I just want to say a huge thank you to all the MindFX customers out there for your continued support throughout 2018. And I do, of course, wish each and every one of you all the very best for 2019 and beyond. Now, with New Year's comes new resolutions, and one of my personal resolutions was to start filming more. And I'm not just talking about filming my own routines and ideas, I'm also talking about filming short introductions to each of the newsletters. So this way you get an extra insight into the new products which are hitting the MindFX shelves, and obviously in return you get to make a more informed choice as to whether these items are going to be suitable for you personally. So with that in mind, let's move over and discuss some of the latest arrivals to hit the shelves. So one of the latest products to hit the MindFX shelves is of course Sybil. Now I was privy to an advance copy of this just prior to Christmas in exchange for my personal thoughts and opinions on it. Now I originally promised Fedden that I would let him know my views within 24-48 hours of receiving the file because I was very excited to watch it. And I must admit that I failed to deliver on that promise, but I failed to deliver on that promise for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I've had falsely anticipated that this project would last maybe an hour and a half, and I was wrong. This project is absolutely huge. I believe there's about 3.5 hours worth of content on here, and that's not even taking into account that you also get a bonus PDF file which contains an abundance of thoughts and ideas pertaining to the content which is actually taught on here. And secondly, this was quite unlike anything that I've encountered before. I was already accustomed to Fedden's way of thinking through his book Proteus, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And this, the material which is contained on here, is so far removed from that, it really caught me off guard in a good way. There isn't really anything that comes close to this in terms of content that I've personally seen so far. Probably the only thing that I can compare it to loosely would be Luke Jamay's Faith Healer book, in the sense that when Luke performs the routines from there, he is very much performing as the real deal. And the same is true of the content on here. Fedden is actually performing as the real deal, and in many respects what he is actually doing is very much real, or it's certainly real for the spectators or participants. The other thing about this project is that you can't just watch it and understand everything in one sitting. You really have to watch it over and over again to extract the full learnings and teachings from it. I've actually watched this 3 times now, and every time that I actually watch it, I extract more and more information from there. I must say that before we go any further, that I think this is pure gold. I really love this DVD if you want the quick summary. But if you want to know a little bit more about what is on here content-wise, just continue to listen. So what is it that we're going to learn on here? Firstly, Fedden treats us to his personal reading system. Now, for those who've always wanted to give a reading but haven't yet settled upon a preferred reading system of choice, this is for you. The reason being is Fedden's system is so easy to learn, and it requires nothing more than a simple piece of paper and a pen, or indeed a pencil. And since those items are so accessible no matter where you are in the world, you're always going to be set to deliver a highly detailed reading containing elements of your participants' past, present and future. Now, if you do fall into that category and haven't given a reading before, you may be worried about the spectator rejecting what it is that you're saying to them. Do not worry about that, because Fedden has you covered. His system is so cleverly constructed that everything he says cannot be rejected by your participants and will hit accurately each and every time. So Fedden's system is not only easy to learn, can be performed wherever you are in the world, is not only very accurate, but will also hit the mark each and every time. Now I hasten to add that even if you have a preferred reading system of choice, this disc is still for you. The reason being is that there's just so many core elements that go into the construction of Fedden's system that you can actually extract each and every one of those elements and incorporate them within any reading system that you're presently using. And that's irrespective of whether you're using an oracle such as the tarot deck, or perhaps the participant's palm for your readings, or whether you're actually just delivering those readings straight. One of the biggest differences between magic and mentalism is that through the performance of mentalism, we often seek to make a deeper and more personal connection with our participants. And if that is indeed true of you and your work, then this project is for you. And you only need to go as far as watching the video trailer for this project to understand that. If you haven't yet watched that performance trailer, please pause this video, head over, watch the trailer, then come back again. Having taken the opportunity to watch the video trailer, I'm sure you will agree just how powerful this material is. There is no doubt in my mind that the participants involved in this project walked away all the better for having that experience. There is no doubt in my mind that they believed that what they were witnessing was 100% real. And there's no doubt in my mind that Fedden used this material to create that deep emotional connection with the participants that we're so often seeking in mentalism, but so seldom actually find. So if you do want to establish that deep emotional connection with your audience, if you do want to come across as the real deal, then this project is for you. Now I can fully appreciate that giving emotionally charged readings of this nature may seem like a step outside of the comfort zone of many mentalists out there, especially those who are new to delivering readings. But don't worry, Fedden has you covered. You see, you can make your readings as light or as heavy as you wish. For those who are just beginning, you may wish to start off with the basic reading system itself and just deliver a light-hearted reading containing elements of your participants' past, present, future. Then as your experience grows, you can then start to add those emotional elements in there. But what if you disregard the reading system from this project? What then are we left with? Now, as we delve further into this project, Fedden also treats us to his personal thoughts and views on billet work. And what I'm talking about here is Fedden's approach to revealing a thought of name. Now, not only does Fedden teach us a fantastic motivational technique as to why our participants should be writing something down in the first place, he also treats us to his preferred peak method and also his way of actually revealing this information too. Now, it goes without saying that this same technique and the same approach to this can be utilized for such things as numbers and words. So you don't have to just incorporate these ideas within the framework of a reading system. They can be adopted within other areas of mentalism too. Fedden also teaches us a fantastic way to identify a specific thought that exists within the spectator's mind. So if you're fans of Propolis' approach to mentalism, then you will find tremendous value in the technique that Fedden offers. So from a personal standpoint, I don't give fully fledged readings within the context of my performances themselves, but rather add elements of reading systems within the introductory script to the effects that I perform. So let me explain further. I suggest to my participants that it's integral that I understand them as individuals and how their minds work before moving into any demonstration. I suggest that for any subsequent demonstration to be successful, it's integral that my perception of them as individuals is 100% correct. I will then open by delivering a short reading for them, and they can either accept that reading or deny it. If they accept the reading, I have proven my intuition to be correct, and then obviously transition into the performance itself. If on the other hand the participant rejects whatever it is that I'm saying, I can then quiz them further and then seemingly amend my approach and obviously reevaluate in my mind how it is that they think before actually moving into the demonstration itself. So in other words, I actually have a fail-safe out. The beauty of what Fedden is offering on this project is that I can actually take the elements that Fedden is offering and use them within the framework of the introductory script so that it is going to hit home each and every time. Now, the beauty of this is that I can now make an informed choice as to whether to expand that reading. So if my participant has a vested interest in what it is that I'm saying, I can expand that reading without actually transitioning into the effect, or perhaps I could open with a little reading, move into the effect itself, and then offer the participant the opportunity to have a deeper reading afterwards. So if that is something that you want to do yourself, then by all means you can take my approach and run with it. I hope you enjoy it. Let me just add that there are many different ways that you can actually use the information that is contained within this project. Obviously, psychometry is also covered on this project itself, but for those who prefer just direct cold reading, i.e. you just want to look at your participants and tell them a personal piece of information that you seemingly couldn't have otherwise known, then you can still use the elements from the project itself. They're versatile enough to be framed in any way that you desire. So whether you want to frame them as psychometry, whether you want to frame them as cold reading, whether you want to use these elements as part of a palm reading or a tarot reading or otherwise, then you will still get value from this project. So in summary, I believe that this project represents true value for money, and I really do believe that it's an essential purchase for anybody who's interested in mentalism. I also want to take the opportunity to formally apologise to Fedden for the severe delay in getting back to him with my thoughts, and I trust that you are happy with my review of this project. And I was so pleased and delighted with this project that I thought I'm not just going to pass my thoughts back over to him personally, but rather share them with all of the MindFX customers, because this really is a golden project. So top marks to Fedden. So one of the more popular items that we've had on the MindFX shelves is of course Flictionary by Steve Hairsine. Now these are currently out of print, and I am unsure as to whether Steve is going to do a rerun of them. This is of course a dictionary test, fantastic one at that. And whilst packing for Blackpool, I did come across a single copy. This is the last remaining copy in stock. It has got a sharp crease down the back cover. But this doesn't affect the workings of the book test in any way. These generally retailed at £100. If anybody is interested in this particular copy, the last one remaining, I am happy to let it go due to the damage for £75. So if you are interested in picking this up, the last and final copy, then please email me at info@mindfx.co.uk. So as already mentioned, MindFX will be back at Blackpool with a MindFX stand. And for those who visited us last year, you will have noticed that we were selling artwork on the stand. This artwork was of course produced by a very close friend of mine, Ian Rasp-Cheetham, who does some fantastic bespoke pieces of mixed media artwork. Now, his collection comprises of various magicians and obviously famous mentalists. So if you are looking for a bespoke piece to add to your bedroom wall, your living room wall, your office wall, or perhaps your man cave, then please head over and check his artwork out. I currently own 3 pieces which have been created by Rasp, and I highly recommend them. For those guys who aren't perhaps getting the opportunity to visit Blackpool, you can head over to artbyrasp.com to check out a sample collection of the pieces that he produces, and he will of course take on custom jobs. So if you are looking for a fine piece of art to add to your collection or to feature in a pride of place in your home or office, then look no further than artbyrasp.com. So at last year's event, we released a DVD project titled Mind Over Matter. Now, Mind Over Matter is a fantastic collection of mental and memory demonstrations which were created by a very good friend of mine, Daniel Dorian Johnson. Now, last year, Daniel was on hand to demonstrate the effects from this project, and I'm very pleased to announce that Daniel will be attending this year's event too. So Daniel will not only be happy to demonstrate anything that you may want to see from here, but he will also be on hand to demonstrate his latest release. And I'm talking about something here that many close friends of mine have been begging him to release for the past few years. This, of course, is his signature routine, which is titled Blood, Sweat and Tears. Now, Blood, Sweat and Tears is essentially a smash and stab style routine that's 100% fail safe, but it has a very unique twist and very unique approach to it. I don't really want to say too much about it other than to let you guys know that he is limiting it to this year to 100 copies. Okay. After Blackpool, it's going to become unavailable until next year's event. So if you want to be in with a chance of owning one of the only 100 copies that he is producing for this year's event, then please head over to the stand and ask for a demonstration from him. You can't miss him. He's got green hair and a huge green beard. So please head over. He's a unique performer, one of a kind, and I'm sure that you're going to be more than impressed by what it is that he is going to demonstrate for you. Now, without doubt, one of my most popular releases is an item called Beyond ASP. Now, Beyond ASP is, of course, my marked set of ASP cards, which is presently sold over 18,000 copies worldwide. Now, early last year, I released something called Naked ASP, and on a regular basis, I get emails from people asking what is the difference between the two. So since we're shooting some video footage, I thought it might be nice to discuss the differences between them, so that you guys can make an informed choice as to which is right for you. So firstly, the biggest difference between the Naked ASP and of course Beyond ASP 3 is the quantity of cards that you get. With Naked ASP you're only actually getting 10 cards, that's 2 of each symbol. Now you also get a custom card case and you also get some fakes, which we're going to be discussing in a moment, but if your routines require the use of any more than 10 cards, then Beyond ASP 3 is certainly the way to go. You will also notice that each of these cards is the same colour. They're all plain white with the exception of the grey border around the back of them. So if your routines require the use of the 2 colours, then again Beyond ASP 3 is the way forward. However, the routines that I exclusively perform with ASP cards are limited to Jasmantlism by my good friend Dave Humphrey, Unfazed by Ben Blau, a fantastic routine, and of course my very own routine Serendipity, which is an advancement of the Tattletaled routine, which was featured in my book A Piece of My Mind. So if your routines require the use of any more than 10 cards or require the use of multiple colours, then Beyond ASP is certainly the way forward. Now there are a couple of other differences between the two sets. These 10 cards here have been printed on 100% plastic cardstock. So if your spectator knocks a drink over the cards or the cards become grubby, you can just simply clean them with a damp cloth. So these cards essentially are designed to last a lifetime, providing you, of course, take care of them. The other thing to notice about these cards is the marking system itself. Just like the Beyond ASP 3, the latest carnation of them, these cards are very easy to read in low light situations, even if you have poor eyesight. I actually recently sent a bunch of these cards to several members of the Magic Cafe who were complaining about ASP cards and the marking systems being difficult to read, considering they required either glasses or just had poor eyesight in general. And I'm happy to say that every single person that I sent these cards to so far that suffered from that problem was able to read these cards without issue. Now the marking system on these cards is also different from Beyond ASP in the sense that these cards can actually be read from a spread condition. Okay, so unlike Beyond ASP, you don't need to count or cycle through all of the 4 corners to do any math to determine what symbol is on the opposite side. With these you can simply glance at the back of the cards, even if they are in a spread condition, and you can identify the specific order of the cards themselves. Also, if you were to mix up the cards and you wanted to locate a specific symbol, you're only ever looking in one place. So you can identify a singular card or a singular symbol very easily by glancing down at the spread of cards themselves. Now let's move over to the custom tuck case itself. The custom tuck case has been designed to look like it houses a laboratory testing set of cards. In other words, you could actually give this box out to your participants. It doesn't scream magic prop or a trick set of cards in any way. It's designed to be plain and simple and just to reflect a housing case for some research tools. Let's now discuss obviously the fake cards that you actually get with this set. Again, these are printed on 100% plastic cardstock. You get the symbol or the card which has got all of the symbols on, which is great for an idea that Banachek featured on his PSI series, I believe. You also get some double-faced cards. In this case you have the star and the plus sign, and you also have the circular designs, which is the circle and the 3 wavy lines. You get a double-backed card too. So that alone is a fantastic set of gimmicks, but we also have supplied this. Now, this was a little quirky design that I came up with, and I know many people who actually bought these cards have sent me emails and say, in the vast, what on earth is this card for? This is a special overlap card, so if you were to actually overlap the circle, then it would appear that you've got two circles here, or indeed, if we were to replace that with a square and overlap it this way, it appears that you have two squares. Just through the nature of the design of it. So this can be used for the likes of Max Maven's amazing routine from the Video Mind series. So if you've watched the Video Mind series, he has a fantastic routine where he makes a prediction from the off. The spectator is given a set of ASP cards, they deal down stop whenever they want, and then it's proven that the spectator has been influenced. The card that they stop on matches your predicted card. Of course, by using this gimmick, you are actually changing one part of the method that Max actually uses. So if you are familiar with that routine, you will no doubt obviously enjoy using that gimmick, and obviously the applications that it opens. As a quick side note, I am hoping to release Serendipity at the Blackpool event. Even if I don't get a chance to release this, please head over to the stand, check out the naked ESP cards, and I will be happy to demonstrate this routine for you. This is something that I had hoped to release at last year's event, however I wasn't quite happy with the scripting on it and I tweaked the handling slightly. Even if it doesn't get released at Blackpool, it will, as I say, be released soon after. Serendipity, the routine itself, is a 5 for 5 ASP matchup routine which is performed entirely in the hands of two participants. It's a beautiful routine that works really well if you're actually using a couple for the demonstration, and it pays tribute to Louisa Ella-Rhine. Louisa Ella-Rhine is of course Dr. Joseph Rhine's wife, who actually conducted over 10,000 experiments of her own. So if you are at the event, please head over, ask her for a demonstration of this, irrespective of whether or not it is released, and if not, it will be released soon after. Now, as I often like to do at Blackpool, I like to preview sort of ideas which I'm working on. And last year I was previewing for many customers my lottery prediction effect, and a lot of people since then have been emailing me and asking me, is it going to be released at this year's event? Sadly, the answer is no. Due to a last minute change in the artwork, the printers couldn't guarantee delivery before Blackpool, so I've decided to cancel the print job, and I may postpone that project and either release it later on this year, or I may actually hold off on it altogether and release it at next year's event. So for those who have been asking, for those who witnessed it, and those who were interested in buying that, unfortunately the lottery prediction effect isn't going to be ready for Blackpool. With the bad news out of the way, I am delighted to say that we do have another Blackpool exclusive release, and that is of course the remote perception system. This is a book which contains a system, or indeed multiple systems, for not only predicting who will win a game of rock, paper, scissors, but also for determining which specific symbols were thrown by each player during the game. This was originally released in just a small booklet form at my Minds event, which was held in June last year, and since then I've had so many more ideas and really sort of taken the routine and the concepts a lot further, and we're now finally re-releasing it in hardback form, expanded, revised, new routines, new handlings, new principles in there, something which I'm very, very proud of. This was an item that was inspired by a chat that I had with a close friend of mine, Ian Rasp Cheatham, who obviously runs the artbyrasp.com store, and whose artwork we will be featuring on the MindFX stand too. This does of course come with some additional props. They're not necessary. This is actually a propless routine that you can perform over the phone, in person, over Skype, but it does come with some additional props which some people may favour, and these props themselves can actually be used for a beautiful bonus routine. And again, I will be on hand at Blackpool to perform several of the ideas from this book for you. So if you are attending the event, please head over, ask for a demonstration. If not, this will be listed online very soon. Okay, so quite some time ago in one of my newsletters, I mentioned in effect under the title of 50/50. This was, of course, a creation of Ian Rowlands and something that I physically paid for myself, not something that MindFX stocked, though Ian, if you are watching it, I would still love to stock it. But it was such a great idea and something which I found so amazing that I really needed to bring it to the attention of the MindFX customers. So if you have just subscribed to this newsletter and perhaps missed that one, please head over to Ian's website and check it out. I thought it's such a superb effect, something which I still use to this day, something that I still find tremendous value in. So please do yourself a favour. Gets my gold stamp seal of approval. Head over to Ian Rowland's website and make the purchase of 50/50. In the same vein, I'd like to introduce you to another effect. Again, this isn't something MindFX stocks. This is a creation of Kieran Johnson's. Now, Kieran is, of course, a fantastic creator and performer who is now releasing his first venture into the world of mentalism. Now, this is something which is called the Trachtenberg effect. This is something which is available at Saturn Magic, and I believe both Kieran and Saturn Magic will be presented at the Blackpool Magic Convention. So if you're going, please head over and ask for a demonstration of this. So what is it? First of all, this is a three-phased routine which is based around the life of Trachtenberg. Now, Trachtenberg is a genuine guy from history who developed a speed system for mathematics, a system for being able to complete complex mathematical problems in light and fast time. And he actually created this system whilst in a concentration camp as a prisoner of war. It's a genuine, true story. And the backstory is actually, of this guy, is actually used as an introduction to the effect. So the story itself is just as fascinating as his real life system. I actually own his book, Trachtenberg's Speed System of Mathematics. It's an incredible system, and the story is just as amazing. So we are opening the routine with obviously a little bit of a history about who Trachtenberg was and obviously the systems that he created. We then introduce to our spectators a way of actually determining the physical day that they were born using a simple mathematical equation. So this is engaging for the spectators. It sort of nicely introduces them to the concept of using maths to create these amazing things. And then from there, we evolved the routine further. And what Kieran's got is he's got a beautiful version of the mental log effect. So based on obviously the idea that Trachtenberg had a system for doing rapid maths and rapid calculations, the spectators asked to use this book to create a mathematical problem. You turn around, glance at these numbers for a few seconds and are able to give the total for these numbers. So this is a beautiful rendition of the mental log effect. If you want a physical version of that, I highly recommend Brian Watson. He's got a beautiful pewter version. But the nice thing about this is it's actually built into a book, so this is something you can carry with you. And if you are working on stage, you do get a jumbo version of this book as well, which is perfect for stage. I should also add that all of these pages are dry wiped, so if you write anything on them with the dry wipe pen supplied, you can actually easily clean it off. So this book, given proper care and attention, should last a lifetime. Which brings me on to the final stage of the book. And the final stage of the book is a magic square. Now, magic square is something which I really love. I'm enamoured with it, but I never found a logical reason as to why I should be introducing a magic square in my routine. Perhaps the only magic square routine which I've ever performed and loved was a creation of Paul Brooks. This falls into the same category as Paul's because it's got a natural reason for taking place. You've discussed Trachtenberg, you've discussed obviously what you can do, the amazing things you can do with math by determining the specific day that somebody's born, teaching the spectators how to do that, engaging them, moving into the rapid calculation of the mental logs routine, and you're culminating the routine with a magic square. So it's a superb routine that can fit into your pocket, work equally well close up on stage, and is certainly worthy of your attention. If you're at Blackpool, head over to Saturn Magic. If you see Kieran, ask him for a demonstration. Certainly something that I'm sure you're going to enjoy performing. Another item that is worthy of your attention at the Blackpool event is Game Night. Now, this is a creation or co-creation of Brett Barry and a good friend of mine, John Morton. Now, there's no surprises for saying this is a Sven pad style routine, but this comes with a beautiful custom printed book, which is based around the game of charades. There's multi-effects, multiple effects which are built into it, superbly produced. Again, another mentalism act that can actually fit into the pocket, so if you are visiting Blackpool, make sure you head over to Brett Barry's stand and make sure that you see John Morton for a demonstration of this. It really is a beautiful piece, all pre-printed, all ready to go. Nice multi-phased routine for you. Check it out.